Okay, so we're going to get started now, everyone. So I want to make sure that you have a strap available because our opening asana sequence will involve using a strap. So find something, whether it's a tie or the sash to a bathrobe or whatever it is, or if you have a ray, it doesn't have to be a necessarily a yoga strap, but something that you can use as um, something that's at least 4 feet long or so. So see if you can grab that if you don't have something already. And so come into your yogic seat, either on top of a folded blanket or on top of a cushion, and make sure that all your external devices that might ding and buzz are turned off so that we can take this moment of pratyahara, turning the senses inward, gathering our attention and our energy inward. And let the eyes close and find a little bit more length and lift through your spine, rooting the tailbone down into the earth, lifting the crown of the head skyward, and at the same time keeping the chin level so the back of the neck stays elongated, and you can find the natural curve to your spine. Let the shoulders stack easefully over the hips as you invite a little more space in between each vertebra. Take a long, slow, deep breath in, savoring it like the fragrance of the beautiful bulbs that are coming up, if anyone has seen the magnolias that are beginning to open, imagine perhaps that you're taking in that fragrance, or just simply enjoying the fragrance of being alive. As you lift the breath up into the chest, pause and hold for a moment. And sip in a little bit more breath if you can. See how much room, how much space you have. Hold, hold, hold. Feel that buzz of all that prana streaming in. And then when it feels the right time for you to release, let it go with a sigh. And enjoy the emptying. Draw the navel in toward the spine to completely empty. And then take another long, slow, deep breath in, filling all the way up. Sip in a little bit more, hold, and savor. Just keep the shoulders soft away from the ears. Keep the heart spread nice and wide as the shoulder blades draw toward one another along the back body. And when you're ready, another letting go sigh. Let that exhale be a releasing of anything that doesn't need to be here. In the mind, any tension in the physical body, or heaviness in the heart. And one more. Inhale, sip, draw it in, hold. Invite that prana in to all of the nadis, which are like rivers that run through you of life energy. When you're ready, offer it out with a sigh. And with eyes closed, I invite you to take in these beautiful words from Thich Nhat Hanh, a great Vietnamese Zen poet and teacher. This is called The Good News. They don't publish the good news. The good news is published by us. We have a special edition every moment, and we need you to read it. The good news is that you are alive, and the linden tree is still there, standing firm in the harsh winter. The good news is that you have wonderful eyes to touch the blue sky. The good news is that your child is there before you and your arms are available. Hugging is possible. They only print what is wrong. Look at each of our special editions. We always offer the things that are not wrong. We want you to benefit from them and help protect them. The dandelion is there by the sidewalk, smiling its wondrous smile, singing the song of eternity. Listen, you have ears that can hear it. Bow your head, listen to it. Leave behind the world of sorrow and preoccupation and get free. The latest good news is that you can do it. So I invite you to, if you haven't already, begun the rhythm of your 3-part yogic breaths. Inviting in breath first into the low belly, and then into the rib cage, and then inviting the breath all the way up into the chest with a little pause at the top, and then exhaling in reverse, emptying chest, ribs, and belly. Giving a little pull of the navel in toward the spine to completely release all your breath. And a little contraction in the back of the throat so the breath makes that ocean sound as it moves through you. Ujjayi. And as you connect with your breathing, see if you can also take this as an opportunity to publish the good news. Bringing to mind something in your life that's a blessing. What is your good news? What is a blessing that you can enjoy? Even the simplest thing, the opening of a flower. The little sprouts shooting up in the garden. The warm water that comes out of the tap when we go to wash our hands. That's just there and available to us. The breath that's moving through you right now. As much as there is challenge and struggle in the world, there is also grace and beauty and love. We can use our intention to keep that in balance, to keep that alive in our consciousness as we move through our day and as we move through our practice. You are alive right here and now, and that is good news. And to acknowledge those blessings, that grace that is continually pouring into our life every moment. Let's bring the hands together in front of the heart. And taking a deep breath in on the exhale, let's join our voices together in the sound of Om. And let your eyes open with a soft gaze. And some people are not muted, so I'm going to do a mute all right now. Okay. Wonderful, everyone. And what I'd like you to do is once again refresh your posture and find your long spine. And here I'm going to come back to my mat over here and have your strap nearby so that you will need that in just a moment. We're going to begin by opening up. We're going to work the body from the top down. So we're going to begin with the neck and shoulders and move down through the torso and then the hips and so move in that direction from top down. So find it comfortable. Seated position. If you need to shake out your legs for a moment and recross them, that's absolutely fine since we've been sitting for a few minutes. And from here, again, lengthen up through your spine and just find some circles of the head, just to invite some movement. Now, you don't want to go way, way back with your head here because that can be sometimes not so good for the neck to extend too far back, especially for some of us who might have neck issues. So just gentle circles here in one direction, inviting and checking just to see what your comfortable range of motion is here. Letting the chin drop down to the chest, letting one ear come to the shoulder, just gentle looking up, letting the other ear come to the shoulder. And notice if there's any crunches and sounds and the effect of doing this rotation of the upper spine. And then try circling the other way. Letting the breath be deep, breathing into the areas that's moving in your neck, in your cervical spine. Just inviting prana to come flow right to that area. Inviting fluidity, range of motion. Coming back to center, lift up again through the crown of the head, chin level or slightly tucked, so you've got that length in the back of the neck. Big breath in, and then exhale and let your right ear, I'll mirror you here, your right ear fall toward your right shoulder. And just notice the lengthening on the left side of the neck, keeping the left shoulder down, away from the ears. You might notice a very active stretch there. And with each exhale, you're just going to let that right ear just melt a little closer toward the right shoulder. Not letting the chin go forward, but keeping the ear in line with the shoulder. And then reaching out your left fingertips down and away, arm at a diagonal. And with that exhale, just letting any tension that you can feel in the left side of your neck just stream down your arm and out your fingertips. You can stay like this, or if you want to deepen it, you can wrap your right arm around your head and just cup your right arm to your left ear. And instead of, you're not going to actually pull on your head, but you're just going to let the weight of the arm invite a little bit more leverage for that stretch. Staying long in the spine, shoulders stacked over hips. Letting the tension stream down that left arm and out the fingertips. One more long, slow, deep breath. Letting the breath, the exhale, be the vehicle for releasing the tension. And then taking the right hand, placing it to the right cheek, and just help your head to come up to center. Notice the difference between your left side of your neck and the right side of your neck. And lengthening up root to crown again, through the top of the head, lift. And let the left ear come to the left shoulder. Notice the difference here. And just taking a few breaths to allow that left ear to melt down toward the left shoulder. Notice how that edge changes with each letting go breath. Maybe just a hair, maybe it's just a millimeter. You can reach your right arm out, down, and away at a diagonal, and let that tension drain down the arm and out the fingertips. We carry so much tension in the neck and shoulders without even being aware of it, that doing this practice right here can really wake us up to how insidious that neck and shoulder tension is. If it served you well to wrap your arm around your head, the other side, you can try it on this side, cupping your right ear with your left hand. Just letting the weight of the arm give it a little bit more opportunity to open. Filling up into the chest with each breath, exhaling all the way down to the belly. Tension draining out the fingertips. One more deep breath. And then bringing the left hand to the left cheek. Just help that head come back up to center. Hands come back to the lap. Lengthen up and then drop the chin to the chest. Again, you're not going to round the upper back. You're going to keep the shoulders in line with the hips, but just stretch the back of the neck as you let the chin sink down toward that notch at the base of the throat. And you can interlace your fingers behind your head and just place your palms around the ridge at the base of the skull. Rather than letting your elbows stick out to the side, just let them hang down naturally so that the arms and shoulders are relaxed. So really your lower arms around your wrists are kind of around your temples here. And let each exhale allow that chin to lower and press more deeply toward the top of the chest, base of the throat. See how far down the upper back you can feel the stretch. Maybe you can feel it right between the shoulder blades as the chin just sinks down toward the chest. Using the power of your out-breath to invite a release. And then the hands unclasp, bring your hands to your cheeks and just help the head come back up to center. Feel how much space you've created. See if you feel any taller. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, turn toward your right. See if you can line up your chin and your nose with your shoulder. Inhale, center. Exhale, other side. And just flowing side to side with breath. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. One more each side at your own pace. And if your range of motion is not as deep as mine, that's okay. Just go to your own edge and enjoy. No need to push anything. Back to center, and just take a moment to roll your shoulders. One way. Just using any size to let go of tension as the shoulders drop down. Circle the other way. And then grab your strap or tie or whatever you have, and we'll open through the upper arms and chest here and upper back. You're going to need to keep the strap nice and taut, and your hands are you're going to make fists around the strap. It's going to be a little wider than your shoulders. You want to find the place where as you reach back, you're going to find an edge that you meet where you can't actually go any further. So get the strap short enough that you can get up overhead and reach back a little bit so the back of the hands, the knuckles, can go a little bit behind the shoulders. So you can feel that nice stretch in the front of the chest. Armpits stretch. Big breath in, press up through those hands and knuckles, but avoid scrunching the shoulders. You want to notice if you're doing that and keep drawing the shoulders down so you've got a lot of space between your shoulders and your ears. Exhale, keep the strap tight and float the strap down to your lap. Inhale, lift forward and up. Find that edge, feeling that as an opening, as a big gesture of yes, right through your heart, through your arms. Opening, exhale, float it down, keep the strap tight. And a few more of those at your own pace, letting the breath lift and open. Big inhale invites the breath to come up into the chest, right under the collarbones. And, and notice if that edge changes. Maybe you can get those hands back a little further with each repetition. A little bit more opening in the, maybe feeling it in the pectoral muscles, armpits, upper arms, upper back. Yes. One more. Exhale, float it down. Take a moment to pause and just shake out the shoulders. Feel the energy you've invited in. Now we're going to take your left arm straight up and your right arm straight out. So you might need to lengthen the strap just a little bit so you can get that 90-degree angle. And so you want to have the strap nice and tight. Press nice and long out through your right fist to the right, nice and straight up. You get that vertical line. And feel that opening through the side, the whole side body on your left side, expanding through your ribs. Big breath in and reach back. See how far back you can let that go. Exhale, release. And other side, lift it up, straight up through the right arm. Remember, I'm mirroring you here. And press straight out through your left. Find the expansion in the rib cage. Lift the lower ribs away from the hips so you're nice and long throughout your whole torso. So find that horizontal and vertical line through the arms and then reach back, opening through the chest. Big, delicious inhale. And then release. All right, just shake out the arms. That feels so good. That brings so much energy into this whole area. And we're going to try one more. This one is about breaking through obstacles, breaking through or pushing through what might seem like an obstacle in your life. So if you have something that's like a place where you feel stuck, bring that into your mind now. And we're going to practice that breaking through. Your strap is going to need to be just a little bit longer. And find from fist to fist, and find that place where you can feel that edge. If it's too long, it's going to be too easy to bring the strap all the way around. We're going to bring the strap all the way around back behind you so that it touches your sacrum area. But if the strap is too long, then it's going to be too easy. You want to find the place where you feel like you're breaking through a barrier. Not so tight that it hurts. You don't want to invite pain here. But you want to invite a sense of finding your edge and then opening through the shoulders to, finally break on through to the other side, as the Doors sang. And then coming forward. Strap comes down. We'll try that a few more times with the breath. Lift up. Feel that edge. Feel that what feels like an obstacle there, and enjoy the opening up and breaking through, whatever it is. And bringing it back down. Remember, you can be as wide as you need. So maybe if you have some shoulder issues and tightness in your or tension or pain in your shoulders, you don't want to push on it too hard. You want to give yourself more slack. Not more slack, but more length. We don't want the strap to be slack. And one more. Break on through to the other side. Break on through to the other side. And then let go. And you can put your strap aside for now. Just turn the palms up on the lap and feel what you've invited in. Big inhale all the way up into the chest. Long, slow exhale, releasing all the way down to the belly. Arms reach and rise, reach out to the horizons, turn the palms up, spiraling the arms open. Arms reach to the sky, reach through the right, reach through the left. And again, reach through your fingertips on both sides. Exhale, right arm comes underneath into eagle arms. Wrapping the wrists if you can, otherwise backs of the hands to one another. The thumbs face you, you lift your arms, the elbows, lift up to shoulder height or above if you can. Breathing into that space between the shoulder blades. Big breath. Exhale, release. And let the right arm lift to the sky, left palm roots down. Once again, finding length and space on the right side. Come into your side bend seated half moon. Reach long. You can bend your left elbow a little bit more while both sitting bones root down into your cushion or mat. And exhale right into a twist into the right. So lengthen up. Get a little leverage with left hand on the right knee or thigh. Turn your heart to the right. Inhale up to center. And exhale, the left arm comes underneath, wrapping into eagle arms. For some of you, just giving yourself a hug will be your access to this stretch, this upper back and shoulder stretch. So find what feels available to you. Breathe into it. Perhaps exploring some micro movements here, lifting and lowering or circling. And on the next inhale, unwrap your arms and lift up with your left fingertips, right palm roots down. Find that length and space through the side of your torso on the left, and take your half moon here. Paying special attention to the left sitting bone, keeping it even and rooted down just as the right one is. Keeping that upper shoulder rolled open, long. Try to avoid bending the elbow if you can. Doesn't matter even if you just go a slight bit into a side bend, that's fine. Exhale, release into a twist to your left. Rolling the shoulders down and back, leading with your heart center. And release, arms reach and rise. Palms come together, back to the heart. All right, let's uncross the legs and shake them out. Might need to give them a little pat down here because we've been sitting cross-legged. Sometimes that can give us a little bit of pins and needles. So whatever you need to do to wake up the legs, sort of shaking them out. Point and flex the feet. Circle the ankles one way. And switch directions of the circles other way. And then swing your legs around, coming into your table pose. I'll turn sideways so you can see me from this angle. And inviting in your cat-cow, spinal waves. I'll take this off. Exploring the full range of motion in your spine, cat-cow. Flexion and extension, tucking the tail on the exhale, pulling the navel in, bringing the chin to the chest. Press the floor away. See if you can spread wide through the shoulder blades. The tail lifts, the belly drops, the heart spreads on the inhale, and the shoulders pull back. You can try curling your toes under, press back through your heels, stretch the bottoms of the feet, maybe coming up on fingertips on the exhale to get a little more lift. And then if it feels good to come into a little wag the tail, wag the dog. No, wag the tail, wag the dog. That was a movie, wasn't it? Side to side, just inviting again a little bit of side flexion of the torso. And coming back to center, walk your hands forward just a few inches so you have a little bit of room to circle your hips. saying hello to your hips this morning. Letting the circles get wider and wider. Brushing the edges of your range of motion and then circling the other way. Always letting it be a mindful dance that connects breath and movement and awareness. Coming back to center, we'll take it into the seal pose to deepen our spinal extension here. So centering, coming back to center, draw the heart forward and lift the feet. Bring your big toes together and very slowly heels toward the buttocks. Soften the shoulders, draw them down and back so the heart spreads, a little bend in the elbows here, drawing the elbows in close toward the ribs. So it's kind of like a deep cobra pose, but your pelvis is hovering above the mat here. And you're on your thighs, and as you slowly draw the heels back toward the buttocks, you'll get a little deeper stretch in the quads. Open the heart, big breath in, look up. Exhale slowly through your cat stretch. Take it slow here so we get the opposite stretch here, maybe coming up onto those fingertips again, and then sinking into your child pose. Just letting the belly melt down onto the thighs or between the thighs, forehead down toward the mat. And let's take 2 more rounds of seal to child, coming through that cat stretch on the way back. So inhale, let yourself move up through table, into your expression of seal. Nice, beautiful back bend and expansion to the whole front of the torso. Exhale, pull the navel in and sink back to child. And again, lifting up. Long, slow inhale takes you into a deep seal stretch. Exhale through cat and into child. And another long, slow, deep breath in. And exhale, release. Rising up into table pose. Once again, bring your knees underneath your hips, hands underneath your shoulders. We're going to take it into a thread the kneel pose and some of the fun variations that we can do here. So take your right hand and lift your right hand to the sky. So you're going to be turning your heart toward the right. You're going to keep your hips over your knees and exhale. Thread through, tucking that right shoulder under the left. You're going to keep the left elbow bent, press the palms into the floor. So you have a 90-degree angle here with your left. You're going to press the left palm into the floor. 90-degree angle with the left hand. Tuck the right shoulder under a little bit if you can. So as you press into the left hand, you're going to feel a little stretch between the shoulder blades there, and you're going to stack your left shoulder on top of your right. Now either stay here, or you can release the left hand. The side of your head is also down onto the mat. If that's too far to go, you can always take a blanket and place a blanket underneath your head or even under your shoulder if you need that. Otherwise, next stage, which is optional, is to release the left hand, bring it straight up to the sky first. Lift it straight up. So you've got a long line from your lower shoulder all the way up through your upper hand, and then bring it back behind into a bind. So back of your left hand to your right hip, or slip your pinky in the hip crease and grab your right thigh, walking your fingers toward the inner thigh, rolling open that left shoulder. Just notice how that deepens the twist. This is all about deepening that spinal twist, starting with the upper back. And then you can slide your left foot back, press out through the heel like you're in a lunge. Your toes are curled under. And lift that left hip and roll open the hip a little bit so that you bring the twist down the spine. Now you can either stay here, or sometimes it helps to curl right toes under here too. Lift and float up through the left foot so that you have a diagonal line from your right shoulder, which is down on the mat, all the way up through those tippy toes, through the left tippy toes. So long line. If you fall over, you don't have far to go. So it's kind of a fun stability practice here. And slowly lower that knee down, unwind your twist, unwind your bind, and come back into table. I can't see how many people fell over, but if you fell over, don't worry about it. It's just play. Take a couple of cat-cows here just to reset the spine. We'll take it on the other side. And when you're ready, bringing the spine to neutral. Now you start with the left hand rising up, stacking left shoulder on top of right. Exhale, thread it through and tuck the left shoulder underneath. Bringing the head down or using your blanket underneath you if you need to. Press into the right palm, just beside your head. And elbow remains 90 degrees. Tuck that left shoulder under a little bit so the fingers, left fingers, reach a little further over to the right. Keep your hips over your knees and either stay here or next level, reach your right hand to the sky, straight up. Find that long line from lower shoulder to upper fingers. And then take it into the bind of your choice, of whatever feels available to you. The invitation here is to roll that right shoulder open a little bit more. And then the next level would be to slide the right foot back, press out through the heel so you can lift your hip a little bit more, and that brings the twist down into the lower region of the spine. And if it's available, lift up one long line from your left shoulder to your right tippy toes. Lift it so that you reach your toes to the place where the ceiling meets the wall. Oh, yeah. And when you're ready to release, unwind in the opposite direction, going through those same steps in reverse. And come back to table. And again, a little cat-cow to reset. And then from here, curl the toes under, press back to downward facing dog. And take a few breaths to warm up in your own way into down dog. If you're taking a dog for a walk, your dog for a walk, take your time. Let it be a slow saunter rather than you're in a hurry. Because it really doesn't, there's no advantage to pedaling the feet faster. What you really want to do is savor the feeling in the back of that extended leg when you press your heel down. And savor that pushing down and forward into your fingers and thumbs. And melting the heart down before going to the other side. So you really give the back of the leg an opportunity to stretch. So you really give the opportunity to lengthen from the tip of the tailbone down through your fingertips, through the back body, through the back of the torso and arms. And when you're ready, come forward into the top of a push-up. If you need knee down plank, that's fine. Otherwise, come into a high plank. Shoulders over the wrists, core firm. Pressing out through the heels, the legs are energized and firm and solid. And lower down knees, chest, chin, coming into preparation for a cobra. Toes are curled under, hands under the shoulders. Draw the heart forward, draw shoulders back. And use the muscles in your back to lift rather than pressing your hands down. So the hands are just very lightly touching. And the tops of the feet are rooted down. And then if you want, you can lift your hands and reach them back behind you. Maybe clasping fingers if that coming into that snake pose serves you well, you can play with that. Keep that lift and drawing the heart forward. If you want to come into locust, reach the toes back, firm the legs, and peel them off all the way up to the thighs. Find that ujjayi breath, brushing the back of the throat. And then float down the thighs, knees, tops of the feet, hands come under the shoulders. Press up into either a full cobra or just use the hands to steady yourself here into a low cobra before pressing back, lowering down first, lengthen the back of the neck, and press back through a cat stretch into your child. And we're going to take that again. This time we'll pick up the pace a little bit. So inhale, up into table. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, lower down, knees, chest, chin, buttocks up in the air. Inhale, cobra, either baby cobra or peeling the whole torso off, keeping the pubic bone rooted, and shoulders drop down. Exhale, release to press up through plank or table into downward facing dog. That is your connecting vinyasa. We'll try that one more time at your own pace. Starting with an inhale to plank, flow through on your own. So we meet in downward facing dog. And when you come into your downward facing dog, lift through the navel, in and up. Spread through the sit bones, press down and away with the hands. We're going to step through with the right foot, so if you'd like to take a three-legged dog, you can lift, sweep up with the breath, the right toes to the sky, keep the heart low, finding a long unbroken line from your fingertips to your toes on your right side. And then bringing that foot through between the hands, lower the left knee down, low lunge. Soften your shoulders, lengthen through your spine, and so from here we're going to take it into a really nice sequence that opens the hips and stretches the back of the legs. Beautiful sequence that I love. So sweep the hands forward and up, so you're coming into your kneeling warrior here. Keep that abdominal lift and tail rooting down. Lift up through the fingertips, drop the shoulders, spread the heart. Exhale, hands back behind you, interlace. Inhale, open the heart as you squeeze the shoulder blades toward the center of the back. Yoga mudra, courageous open heart. Exhale, release. Bring your hands to your thigh as you pivot on the kneeling knee, on your left knee, 90 degrees, so that now your hips are open toward the long end of your mat, toward the left side of your mat. And you're in a kneeling warrior two, same as a regular warrior two with that front leg and with your shoulders stacked over your hips and open through the heart center. The only difference here is that this kneeling knee is really more under your hip rather than out to the side. If you were standing, your leg would be out at a diagonal. So here you are in your warrior two, and you want the outside edge of that bent knee to draw toward the pinky toe, so you get that opening through the inner thigh and the hip here. Nice and wide through the center of the chest. And fix your gaze between right over that front middle finger and soften your shoulders. Same power and strength and focus and commitment of a standing warrior. We'll take it into a dancing warrior by bringing I'm not going to mirror you here, but the left hand comes to the hip, right hand turns up, lift it to the sky, and then arch back. So you're going to reach up and back behind you without losing the integrity of that 90-degree angle of your front leg. Exhale, back into warrior two. Straighten the front leg. We'll take it into a gate now, lifting your left hand to the sky. And take it into a side bend, pressing the hip pointers forward. And if you want to use your core a little more, bring the back of the hand to the inside of the calf on that extended leg. Reach up and over past the front of your mat, opening and expanding through the ribs on your left side. And then exhale, float that left hand down onto your fingertips. We'll take a half circle. So one long line from your right tippy toes to your right fingertips, pressing the hips forward, and 3 big circles, turning your torso to the sky. So shoulders open to face the sky, heart faces the sky, hip pointers face the sky. So it's more than just moving your shoulder and your arm around. You're inviting the whole torso to open. Greeting the sky. And then let that upper hand, that right hand, come down beside you. You're going to walk your hands around the left side of your mat. This is where people get messed up. So as long as you walk toward the front of your mat, around your left side of your mat, you'll end up in a runner stretch here. Hands straddle that front leg. Everybody with me, I hope? Because sometimes people end up the other way. But if you did, just turn around and come this way. You want to have your right leg extended in a runner stretch. Use your blocks if you need to for support. Lengthen out and bow down, leading with the heart. Long spine. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bow down. Flat back. So notice if you're doing any slumpasana here and you want to lead with the heart. One more breath in this runner stretch. Notice the aliveness that you feel in the back of that right leg. We're going to roll the right foot down back into a lunge and take it into a revolved side angle. Press the left palm down under your shoulder. Press the right palm into the thigh. And just press for a moment to get that rotation of the spine. Curl the back toes under, then lift up into high lunge if that's available. Pressing out through the heel. And then lifting right hand to the sky, long and wide. Keeping an active inner thigh on the right side toward the center line of your mat. Exhale, release, frame that front foot, step back into plank. Flow through your vinyasa. Some of you may be ready for chaturanga to upward facing dog. If that serves you well, by all means, invite that in. Meeting in downward facing dog. Take a moment to lift through the navel, lift through the tailbone, tilt it back, melt down through the heart. Reconnect with Ujjayi breathing. And we'll take it into a low lunge on the left side. First starting with 3-legged dog, if that's part of your practice. It's always optional. Keeping the shoulders back away from the wrists as you lift that left foot high, and then gracefully step it through low lunge. Take a moment to soften through the shoulders and lengthen from tail to crown. Engage inner thighs toward the midline, sweep forward and up, kneeling warrior. Root tailbone down, keep that abdominal lift. Coming into not only the physical expression of this warrior, but also in your own mind and heart, where you need to invite in that energy, that strength, fortitude, and courage today. On the exhale, hands come back behind you, interlace, spread wide open through the heart. Release, hands come to your thigh. Now you get to see that same sequence from the other side. So we're going to open up into a warrior 2, letting your left knee draw toward your pinky toe. So you feel that nice opening the hip. Open wide through the heart center and fix your gaze right over your middle finger on your left hand. Notice if the shoulder is doing that scrunching that often happens without us being aware, and see if you can invite the shoulders to soften. As you reach longer between your, or wider, the space between your left middle finger and your right middle finger, notice how that expands right to the heart center. Turn the front palm up, back hand comes to the hip. So your right hand comes to your hip. Take your dancing warrior here. Exhale back through your warrior two and slide the left heel away to take your gate pose now. So now we get to stretch the side body on the other side. Keeping your body in one plane, except for that lower leg that you're kneeling on. The rest of the whole body is sandwiched between two panes of glass. So there's no sticking the hips back or folding forward with the torso. Exhale, float that right hand down, be on your fingertips. So you have lots of room to press the hips forward and grow longer from your left tippy toes to your left fingertips. Press the hip pointers forward, and then 3 big circles to the sky here. Let the circling of the shoulder and the arm invite the heart to face skyward, the belly to face the sky, the hip pointers to face the sky as far as they'll comfortably go. Lots of breath. It's a great gesture of saying yes to life today. And then the upper fingertips float down to the floor, and you're going to now walk around the the right side of your mat to pivot on that back knee to face your front. You're straddling your left leg now. Everybody there? Hip pointers to the front. Lengthen out, bow down, lead with the heart. Using blocks here can be helpful for many of you. Finding that pulse with breath, you're going to lengthen on the inhale, deepening, lead with the heart on the exhale. And moving back into a lunge, rolling that left foot down. I'm going to take it into that revolved side angle twist. Right palm under the shoulder, left palm on the thigh. Press to get that spinal rotation, stacking your shoulders, turning your heart toward the left side of your mat. Back toes curl under, lift up into high lunge. Get that back of the knee crease lifted high. And grow long and wide in all directions. Shine like the sun. Big breath. And release. Step back into your plank pose one last time. Flow through your vinyasa as you choose. For some of you, it could be just, I want to take a rest in child. That's fine. Or stay to do cat-cow and table. Others are going to want to flow through that connecting sequence and meet in down dog. Press the low belly toward the thighs. Lengthen one more time, lifting through the tailbone. Big breath in. Exhale. Walk the feet or take a little hop to bring your feet between your hands to come into your forward bend. Soften the knees as you need it. Keeping the belly and thighs close together, and let the head go. Let everything hang down. Let it all hang out, as they say. Finding your yes and no with the head. And then taking a half lift, sliding the fingers up the shins. Find your flat back. Feel the core engage here. Pull the shoulders back. Big breath. And exhale, release. Soften the knees. And we'll sweep the arms out to the horizons, up to the sky. Palms come together. Draw them down the center line back to your heart. I'm just turning around to give you a different view. Let's take the feet into a wide stance, a 5-pointed star. From heel to heel, be about as long as the length of one of your legs. Toes turn out 45. Find the neutral position of the pelvis so the tailbone points straight down and you're flattening the lumbar curve. Lift the lower ribs away from the hips, open out into your 5-pointed star. I call this sequence the goddess, the embrace of the goddess. And think about this as the great mother goddess And there are many, many different forms of the goddess. There's the goddess of abundance, the goddess of compassion, the goddess of strength. There's fierce goddesses. There's goddesses of creativity, goddesses of wisdom and knowledge. So, and she's known by many, many, many names and in many forms and colors and shapes and flavors. So you invoke the one for you that embodies a quality that you're needing today. Opening up to her embrace and exhaling, coming into your goddess, letting the thighs come to as close to parallel as you can do. With arms and goddess arms, you can either have your hands facing toward me, shining your goddess light in my direction, or facing toward one another. Just keep the outer edges of the thighs drawing away from you and keep the back flat so that we, instead of doing this, we find a little bit of lengthening through the spine as if you have your back, the whole back touching against the wall. So inhaling once again, feeling the goddess, the embrace of the goddess, embracing the whole world, you and everyone in it with her love and her power and her grace. Exhale. Finding that expression within you. How are you going to show up today as goddess? Inhale. Let's move with breath with this. Inhale, opening up to her embrace. Exhale, letting her come through you. Inhale, opening up to her love. Exhale, embodying her strength and power. Inhale, opening up, inviting her in. Exhale, you being an instrument of goddess's power and love. One more. Exhale, find your goddess, and this time, let her embrace you fully, bringing one arm underneath. See if you can walk your fingertips toward one another along the back. Really feeling the mother goddess giving you a hug. Even as that heat is building in your legs. Even in this moment of challenge, where you're really struggling to stay stable, to stay with it, feel her embrace carrying you through it, whatever it is. Inhale, straightening the legs, opening up her arms nice and wide, holding every single being on the planet in her embrace, including you. Other arm comes underneath. Feel her embrace. Remembering that she is there with you, as a quality that lives inside of you, that can rise to the occasion, whatever it is, if you invite her to show up. Ujjayi breath. And then opening up nice and wide. Oh, yeah. Let your hands come down by your sides. Just hands at the hip here. And pivot the feet so that they come into preparation for triangle. So I'll mirror you here. Your left toes are going to turn in a little past center. Your right toes are going to go straight out to the right. Your hip pointers open toward me, toward the long end of your mat. Okay, you're going to draw energy up the legs. So start with the bottoms of the feet. Lift the arches. Let the energy draw up to lift the kneecaps and engage the quadriceps. Feel that energy lift right up through your core, right to your heart center. And then bring your hands to your hips and come into that tilt where you drop your right hip crease. And you want to find that length through the left side of your body, and notice how your core is going to engage. So if you could try an experiment here, just relax your belly, and don't engage that lift, and notice how the belly is kind of soft. But once you find that lengthening out from tail to crown, notice how the belly muscles, that Uddiyana Bandha, naturally engages. So from that long spine, Then find the arms reaching, one arm reaching straight down, one arm reaching straight up. Either support yourself on your calf or back of the hand, or on your shin or back of the hand to the calf. Reach up, keep that Uddiyana Bandha engaged. Keep long, so we don't want to go into a rounded spine or let the head flop. So think about that arrow-like quality from tail to crown. An arrow shooting right through your spine. Long, straight arrow. If you want to take it into a bind, you can reach your upper hand back behind you. Grab your thigh if you can, or just back of the hand to the hip. Turning your gaze to look up at the sky if that feels comfortable on your neck. Reaching long and away through the crown of the head. Other variation here is reach up through that back hand. Now the left hand reaches up and over to the right. Upper arm in line with the ear. Holding the pose with your core. And then lift it up, back into 5-pointed star. And turn the other way. You're going to line up your left heel with the instep of the right foot. Hips open toward me. Lift through the arches, lift through the knees, lift through the thighs, lift through the core. And just bring your hands to your hips for a moment so you get that lift through the spine. And drop the right hip crease. Oh, excuse me, I did that wrong. Left hip crease. Roll open the right hip crease. Lift through your belly. Navel in and up. And then take it into your Trikonasana triangle pose. You're going to draw the left hip crease forward a little bit and roll the top of the right hip back. Look up at your upper thumb or at the horizon if that's more comfortable on your neck. Grow long and wide through the heart center, and then take your bind if that served you on the other side, and that will help the torso stay in line. Everything, just as we did in the gate pose, everything needs to be in the same plane here. You're between two panes of glass. So there isn't a folding forward of the torso. And then taking that other variation, upper arm in line with the ear on your right side, reach long past the front edge of your mat. Reach up for the golden cord to draw you back up. Open up into your 5-pointed star. And turn the toes this time to face straight ahead. Outer edges of your feet parallel to the short ends of your mat. You can bring your hands to your hips here again to come into a flat back. Press into the tops of the thighs to invite length in the spine. And then releasing the hands out to airplane arms. Feel how the core engages to support your spine. Flat back. Parallel to the floor as from root to crown. Feel the energizing stretch in the backs of the legs. Sit bones are spreading wide. And then slowly fold forward into your Prasarita Padottanasana, wide leg forward bend. And either having your head on a block or hands on a block, take a moment to explore in your own way this wide leg forward bend. Some of you might want to walk the hands forward into a wide leg downward dog. Some of you might want to come into the top of the head down to the floor, or maybe interlacing fingers and taking it in a wide leg yoga mudra. So let it be your own exploration here. And lifting up halfway. We'll take it into a twist, pressing down under the shoulder with your left hand. Let the right hand rise to the sky, lengthening out tail to crown. Find the vertical axis from your lower hand to your upper hand. And release. And take that same twist on the other side. On the in-breath. Stay for another breath cycle. then release on the exhale. Turn your toes out, 45 degrees, soften the knees, and we'll roll up one vertebra at a time. Opening out once again, 5-pointed star, bring the palms together, exhale back to the heart. And you can heel toe the feet back to standing. Beautiful, everyone. Just do a little shake out. Maybe you want to shake out your legs. That was a vigorous sequence. Let's take it into a little bit of a balance play, and I have two options here. One is a more basic pose, which most of you are familiar with, the tree pose, which some of you might prefer to do with a fingertip against the wall. That's fine. If you're able to do a freestanding tree, I'll come over here so you can see. There is another option that I'm going to invite you to play for those of you who want a little bit more challenge. So we're going to start by rooting down through your left foot and finding your expression of tree, whether it be foot inside thigh or foot inside calf, or even just toes to the floor. You just want to invite that hip opener where the knee comes straight out to the side. Tail roots down, lift through the core. Hands can be at heart center, or you can lift your branches to the sky. Rooting the tail straight down. Taking tree might be satisfying enough for you, challenging enough for you. If you want to take it into a lovely, fun, balance pose from here, you can take it into the ballet pose, where you're going to take your left palm and bring it to your palm facing you, so the back of your hand faces out. So you're going to bring it under your heel. And then from here, if it's available, straighten that leg out. This is actually easier than it looks. If you can straighten that leg, maybe you'll need to keep a little bend in it if you have tight hamstrings. But you want to straighten that leg straight out to the side and draw that foot back behind you so that your hip stays nice and open in the ballet pose. Maybe even taking your right hand into some nice little ballet movements, whatever that is for you. Oh yeah, of course, fixing your gaze into a spot on the floor where you can anchor your attention. Yes. And release when you're ready. You can come back to tree just to make it into a sequence, and down. And if the ballet pose isn't available to you, that's fine. Don't worry about it. It's just an opportunity to play. Some of you might even want to try it against the wall with your back to the wall, so you can just play with what that feels like without having to worry about balance so much. So we'll start on the other side, coming into your tree pose. And remember, tree can be lots of different variations for expression here. Inside thigh, inside calf, or foot on the floor. Just a soft gaze, sending your focus to a spot on the floor, maybe 6 feet in front of you, 8 feet in front of you. And when you're ready to take it into, maybe the practice for you today might be just to hold on to your heel without going into this kind of rounded reaching for your heel. To see if you can just grab the heel without going into Shlumpasana, staying with the shoulders stacked over the hips, staying long, and then opening up into your ballet pose. You can try this with a strap, but it's actually not all that much easier with a strap, because sometimes the center of gravity can be compromised that way. So you can play with your ballet pose if that feels available to you. And then coming back into your tree. I have a lot more challenge on my right side. And when you're ready to release, Coming back down, shaking out one leg, shaking out the other, and come down onto your mat, onto your knees. I'm going to give you an opportunity to take a sequence here, the camel pose to the rabbit pose. So this is a deep back bend. For some of you, your camel pose will simply be framing your sacrum or your low back area with your hands, fingers pointed straight down, drawing your shoulder blades toward one another so your elbows point straight back, and just spreading the heart. Lifting lower ribs away from the pelvic bowl, and noticing how that spreads the heart. And then you can keep pressing the hips forward a little bit as you arch back. So this is looking up at the sky is optional. If that's uncomfortable for your neck, you can just keep your chin tucked and just let it be an upper back and chest opener. If you want to take it deeper, your camel pose you can take blocks beside you, pressing into the blocks, or a block behind you, pressing into the corners of the block to hold on to. You just want to keep your hips over your knees. You do not want to let your hips come back. You want to keep the thighs straight up and down. So it's a arch back from the spine, not a leaning back of the hips. For some of you, curling toes under and reaching for your heels one at a time, lifting your gaze to the sky. For some of you, feet flat, if it's available. This is the deepest expression of the camel pose. Heart open, take a deep breath in, exhale with a sticking your tongue out. Again, inhale through the nose, clear out the throat chakra, exhale, stick out the tongue. To come out, one hand frames the sacrum, other hand, other side. Press into the sacrum, lift up, let the head come up last. Folding into a child's pose, but with your legs together, inner thighs together, belly resting on top of the thighs. Forehead comes down. Bring your hands down by your feet, palms facing up. We're going to come into the rabbit pose, which is a traditional complement or complementary pose to the rabbit. So you're going to bring your hands over your Achilles tendon. So bring the backs of the hands over the back of your Achilles tendon, and then turn your hands so that they palms face the inner ankles. So you're coming to the inside of your ankles. I'll turn this way in case some of you aren't familiar with this so you can see. Inside, and then the backs of the hands face one another. You're going to grab your ankles or you can grab your heels. Going to lift the hips up, roll onto the crown of the head, pull on the arms. So there's dual action here. There's a lifting of the hips to the sky, and there's a pulling on the ankles or heels. So you should feel a nice stretch and opening and lengthening in the low back here. The whole spine comes into flexion, rounding, arching like a cat stretch, but you're on the crown of your head. Now keep that lift for one more breath. And you can release the hands and let the hips come down toward the heels. And interlace your fingers behind you so they're in yoga mudra, palms facing one another, thumbs crossed. And the thumbs are just kind of resting on your sacrum area. Now we'll come into the seal of yoga, yogic seal, yoga mudra, lifting the arms, squeezing the shoulder blades toward one another, and then if it's comfortable, you can roll onto the crown of the head, lifting the hips. Once again, thighs straight up and down. And here you can give yourself a little massage on the crown of the head, rolling forward and back. If that feels not so good on the crown of the head, you can take a blanket and place it there. So give yourself a little padding or just double over your mat.
So I'm just giving the cranium a massage. Energetically, this is the crown chakra, the gateway to the infinite cosmic consciousness. So we're kind of knocking on that door, saying, let me in, or let me out of here. Release the hands, let them come down beside the head and press up into table. And come onto your back. Hug your knees in. Little bit of massage, rocking side to side. Coming into a moment of inversion of your choice, which could be simply lifting the hips and placing a block underneath your sacrum and letting the legs come straight up to the sky. A simple, gentle, calming inversion. For some of you, you might want to take it right into shoulder stand plow sequence. Doing my shoulder stand and plow is a little challenging with this microphone behind my head. The thing is right in the spot where I don't want it to be. Some of you might want to let your inversion be a bridge pose, just letting the hips be higher than the heart, and the heart higher than the head. That's fine. Some of you have a headstand practice, and you can take that, whatever your inversion that would serve you well right now would be. And if an inversion is not appropriate for you, sometimes just placing a block underneath the sacrum and being in supported bridge just gives you a little lift, allowing some of the pressure in the lower organs and the abdominal cavity to release a little bit. And the blood to return to the heart. Staying connected with the rhythm of your breathing. And releasing your inversion when you are ready. And bringing the hands right underneath the buttocks, making a little triangle that'll go underneath the sacrum area. Actually, the triangle is going to go a little bit further down. I think it's a little more comfortable that way. So your hands and wrists are underneath the buttocks. Legs straight up in the air. Feet flexed. It's another kind of inversion here. And on the exhale, slowly lower the feet down to hover over the mat, just a couple of inches. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower down. If this feels a strain for your low back or your abdominal muscles, you can do one leg at a time, lifting and lowering, alternating. Otherwise, both legs lift. On the inhale, exhale, float them down. Let the breath move the body. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, lowering. Lifting on the inhale. Exhale, lower. at your own pace, letting your breath set the pace. Two more. Using that ujjayi sound. Release your hands from underneath you. Take a moment of shavasana here to integrate, to let go. And I invite you to come into any final twist that feels yummy for you to conclude the movement part of our practice. So maybe you want to bend one knee and do bent knee over straight leg. Maybe you want to have both knees bent in an L shape into revolved abdomen pose. Maybe you want to take twisted root with your legs wrapped in eagle legs. So take the twist on one side that feels good. Stay there for 3 deep breaths. The head turns in the opposite direction that the knees are going. And in any of these twists, you want to invite the backs of both shoulders to root into the mat. So your heart faces the sky. And when you're ready to transition to the other side, nice and slow, take your twist on the other side. And when you're ready to find your way into Shavasana, if you need to cover up or put a bolster underneath your knees, please do that. Get yourself really comfortable for some time of integration, just to feel the reverberation of your practice, of all those wonderful poses that we explored today. And as you settle in to your Shavasana, the pose of the corpse, which is also known as sponge pose. You can think of yourself as a sponge, just absorbing all that prana. I want to offer you these words from Eckhart Tolle. Your acceptance of what is takes you to a deeper level where your inner state, as well as your sense of self, no longer depend on the mind's judgments of good and bad. When you say yes to the isness of life, when you accept this moment as it is, you can feel a sense of spaciousness within you that is deeply peaceful. On the surface, you may still be happy when it's sunny and not so happy when it's rainy. You may be happy at winning $1 million and unhappy at losing all your possessions. Neither happiness nor unhappiness, however, go all that deep anymore. They are ripples on the surface of your being. The background of peace within you remains undisturbed, regardless of the nature of the outside condition. The yes to what is reveals a dimension of depth within you that is dependent neither on external conditions nor on the internal conditions of constantly fluctuating thoughts and emotions. Just as it is, just as it is. Oh, may we be at peace with this. May we embrace these joys and challenges and let it be just as it is. The world is turning, sometimes too fast. Can't make these precious moments last. Our trials and triumphs slip through the hourglass. One thing is certain, this too shall pass, and time will be just as it is. Just as it is, just as it is. Oh, may we be at peace with this. May we embrace these joys, challenges, and let it be just as it is. These tulips blooming in my backyard, they stand like trophies after a winter hard. These fragrant blossoms in many hues abound, but soon drop their withered petals on the ground. Nature will be just as it is, just as it is, just as it is. Oh, may we be at peace with this. May we embrace these joys and challenges and let it be just as it is. And you have loved me best you know how. We stumble through this partner dance somehow. Sometimes you fall short of my ideal, but romantic dreams bow down to what is real, and love will be just as it is, just as it is, just as it is. May we be at peace with this. May we embrace these joys and challenges and let it be just as it is. We watch the years fly, the time just races, etching lines on our elders' faces. We see our children come of age and leave. All these passages we celebrate and grieve, and life will be just as as it is, just as it is, just as it is. Oh, may we be at peace with this. May we embrace these joys and challenges and let it be just as it is, just as it is. And slowly let your breath deepen. Invite some movement into your fingers and toes, ankles, wrists. Let the head move side to side, and find any other movements that bring you back into awareness of your body and present time. Maybe a long stretch, maybe a hugging in close, whatever feels good. And rolling over onto one side into your fetal position. Come back up to seated. And just taking your time to press yourself back up into your yogic seat. As always, it is a delight and a joy to practice with you. Just let the hands come together in front of the heart in gratitude for the good news. There's lots of good news. And so may we train our minds and our hearts to be open to that. Not in a way that's Pollyanna and ignoring the very real suffering of many human beings right now, but to remember the balance and to remember that it's not all one or all the other. It's this and this. And to be able to hold all of it in a heart that is as wide as the world. Let's close together with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. Namaste, everyone.